Izzo. So without further ado, voila, Coach Izzo, the all-time winningest coach in Big Ten basketball history, joins us now. Coach, how you doing, my friend?
I'm good, guys. I just stayed longer than most. That's all.
Coach, congratulations to you.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Coach, so on the way to the Big Ten the Big Ten Tournament, what's a good old-fashioned bus ride to Indianapolis like? Set the stage for me. What's that like?
It's awesome. You know, I try to take one or two a year just to remember back to my northern Michigan. I had my buddy Mariucci in this weekend, and the two of us reminisced about those 8-9 hour bus rides from northern to Ferris, Grand Valley, Hillsdale, all the big time places. And Braylon, you wouldn't know about that because you only had a bus probably one time in your whole career, and that was the East Lansing. So, we had to do it every week back in the day. And so when you do that, a little 3.5 hour ride, it's actually good. You get a little team time. Guys can relax a little bit. And it's just fun, it's a little harder now because everybody's got their damn phones. But back in the day, we used to all sit in the back of the bus and talk. That was more fun.
Yeah, conversation, man. That's the best. We did take the bus to Notre Dame, and we did take the bus to Columbus. Two terrible places to take a bus ride. Hey, Coach, congrats on getting 663. I remember talking with you at the Rocker Mortgage briefly this past summer, so I'm very, very happy for you. When you took over the job in 95, was 663 something that was in your mind at all?
No, Braylon, it wasn't even. What was in my mind is, could I keep the job 2 or 3 years before I got fired? That's back in the day when you were just hanging on, and so it wasn't, I'll be honest with you, it wasn't even last year, I just, it was something I didn't think about, didn't realize. I mean, I think it is a great honor, even be talked about with Bob and all the things and the same phrase. Gene Cady was another guy that won a lot of games. When I came into the league, it was Gene Cady, Bob Knight, and Clem Haskins, and those guys kind of ran the league, and I just kind of sat in the back of the room and hoped I'd survive half as long as them. And now to pass some of those guys is a great honor, and it's humbling, to be honest with you.
Hey, Coach, Tom Mazaway here. Thanks a million for coming on with us and always being who you are. You're a true blue guy. That's why we love you. And I wanted to thank you back in 2000 when I followed your team, lucky enough to be a reporter back in the time and make it to the RCA Dome to see you guys clinch that championship against Florida. Did you ever think that would be the last championship the Big Ten would bring home? We're in 2022 right now.
Yeah, I remember talking to a lot of people about that. I know John Beeline's a friend, and when he was at Michigan and he had a couple chances, and of course, the Fab Five was before that, but it's just been too long since the Big Ten has won it. We've had a lot of good teams. I mean, I think of the 8 times we've been there, I think 3 or maybe 4 of them, we had 2 Big Ten teams in the Final Four, and yet still couldn't get it done. So that's the one negative. I think the league has proven to be such a good basketball league the last 5 years, and yet we can't win another one. So that's the only negative. Other than that, there's a lot of positives.
Talking to Tom Izzo, Michigan State head basketball coach, on their way to Indianapolis for the Big Ten Tournament. And you had mentioned this is still so much fun, taking the bus to tournament time. I mean, if this doesn't get your juices going now, I mean, you could talk about how the season may have ended. You could talk about a streak in November, a streak in January. But now everybody's 0-0. Everybody's on the same playing field. What's your message to your guys as you get ready to play 6:30 tomorrow against Maryland?
Well, that's one of the cool things about being here. Our former guys, in fact, Magic called last night, all the former guys call because, tournament time is tournament time. And as much as the regular season actually means more to me than the Big Ten tournament, because I think if you can win something over 20 games, it's better than over 3. But at the same time, the tournament is the tournament. We've got the ACC tournament on the TVs as we come down here, and you're right, they're just a fever pitch. There's nothing like the NCAA. I love football, as you guys all know, and I love the bowl games. But, where David can get Goliath and all those things that go on, and in these kind of couple of weeks. There's already been upsets and buzzer beaters in conference tournaments, and I think it's frustrating for the coaches, but it's really exciting for the fans.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned you got the ACC tournament on. Did you see a 40-point win for Syracuse coming today?
How about the punch from Buddy?
He apologized for that after the game.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he apologized. He went
how
up.
Did that go without?
I don't know.
How did that go without Man, I couldn't believe that. My guys were yelling from the back, and I said, this day and age where you get a flagrant one for breathing on a guy too hard, I couldn't believe that. They checked the monitor, but I don't know. Maybe those two refs were Jim's brother and uncle or something. I don't.
Hey, Coach, if that was one of your guys and you saw that and nobody else did, do you sit him in the second half? How do you handle that?
I'll be honest with you. I don't know. This day and age, I'm lucky I haven't had it. But back in my second year here, we were playing Purdue, and one of my guys kind of elbowed a guy in the back of the neck, and I did suspend him for a game. I called Gene. I said, I'm going to suspend him. He goes, well, I like tough guys too. He said, but I said, it just wasn't right. And, I'm not trying to be all righteous, but I think there's certain things, like in football, taking guys' knees out, in basketball, just punching a guy. I mean, there's certain things that you gotta put an end to. And so I don't know, though. It's a different day and age right now. It's so weird out there. Are there any rules anymore? I didn't think there were any rules.
That's why we like it, Coach. That's why we like it. You got to have rules to play for Tom Izzo.
Hey, Coach, can you do me a favor when you get back to East Lansing? When you see Mel Tucker, can you tell him that Ann Arbor misses Paul Bunyan? can you do that when you get a chance? So, we miss Paul Bunyan.
Wow.
Tell him knock it off a little bit. Cut us some break.
Boy, I'll tell you, back in your day, it was the other way around. Right. But, we have had some luck here. Football, even the last 10 years, you think about it. I mean, there's a couple of years, but it's only had a decent run, too. So you can be mad at us for that, but that's pretty exciting for us up here. And yet, I think what's happened in basketball, and I think you guys would agree, Beelan and I used to always talk about it. We were building an incredible rivalry where there is no rivalry when it's one team, I mean, I was here during the bowl years. That tells you how long I've been here. I think they beat us like 30 out of 35 times. And then I was here when we were getting our butts kicked in my first 3 years, and then we did some the next. And then it got to be where a rivalry is really a rivalry, and that's when both teams are good. So let's hope that's the way it goes.
Hey, Coach, obviously you're talking to two Michigan guys here, and there's a lot of Michigan fans that were maybe rubbed the wrong way when Jim Harbaugh was quote-unquote flirting with the NFL. Do you remember what it was like back for you when you maybe had a desire to go to the NBA years ago? You did your homework, you did your due diligence, and then at the end of the day, you just came to the belief that Michigan State was the best place for you. What is that like to balance staying where I am, having a drive to go see if this would work at the NBA level? What is that balance, and what's Jim Harbaugh maybe going through now?
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it, man? That's the difference between a coach and a regular guy. When you use the word flirting, that means you're flirting with some girl back in the good old days. But now we're talking about jobs, and that's not as good. But I think what Jim went through, I did go through it a little bit. I mean, when you're working a certain profession, there's always an ultimate goal, and then the NBA and NFL are that. That doesn't mean that it would suit me or suit him, but I think what's happening now in college sports, and I think you would agree that it's getting a little crazy out there with the transfer rules, the paid players, the this and that. And you put that all together with recruiting and academics, and now you got to fundraise, and that sometimes I think pro football is the one sport that, like pro basketball, and that's a different lifestyle. But in pro football, you got 17 games now. But instead of playing on Saturday, you play on Sunday. Otherwise, the rest of the week. So is the thing, you know.
Yeah.
And I can understand why he had to give that a good look. I really do. I talked to Mariucci about it this week, you know, because he said, "Man, I miss being on a college campus and this and that," you know. But I said, "Yeah, well, you wouldn't miss it when you gotta worry about everything a kid does wrong, every academic problem, there's so many more issues in college than pro sports." So I think he had, as I did a couple times, I do think he had the right to look. I don't begrudge anybody for looking. I mean, but I think he's got a pretty good job where he's at. He had a hell of a year, so you guys don't be too mad at him for that.
No.
The great Tom Izzo joins us here on Woodward Sports. Last one for me, Coach. We all watched Coach K coach his last game at Cameron Indoor over the weekend. They lost that game to North Carolina. He came out. He was a little pissed off at his team. Kind of gave him the business. Said season's not over. It reminded me of you, to be honest with you. You know, guys like you, Coach K. You know, what a great breed. That's my kind of guy.
Yeah, I agree.
I just wanted to, what's your take on Coach K as he exits stage left here?
Well, I felt bad for him that night. I did watch it. I mean, you hear you beat your rival by 20 at their place, and you come back and you lose. But I talked to the referee that did our game the next day, and he did that game, and he said it was a circus down there. You know, there was so much going on, and you guys know, Braylon, you know it, that as athletes, staying focused is the big key, and sometimes, like my farewell tour is going to be last game, adios.
I don't know about that, Coach. I don't know
I'm
about
do it
that.
after. Oh, I do know it. And that's no bad thing. It's just that I think that was hard. I love Mike. And Mike's been good to me. I think he loves me too. You know why, guys? Because I think we're 3-11 against him.
Exactly.
He likes me a lot.
I wasn't going to mention that. Hey, Coach. Last thing for me. You see Coach K going out and my high school baseball coach. I'll bring it back to this. My high school baseball coach. He's been at Grosse Pointe South since 1984, and he always says he's like, the kids have not changed. It's the parents that have changed. How much longer do you want to do this?
Well, that's a great point, and I say this too. I always say, don't blame the kids, blame us. We're the ones that let them do what they can do. I mean, there is less discipline, there is less accountability. The Bows and Judds of the world are turning over in their graves. And some of it's good. There's got to be some change, but some of it's not good. And I'm afraid that the players are going to lose out. And what I said is, I still love my job. I'm questioning my profession a little bit. I think too many things are going on that aren't really right, and so we'll see how that goes. But I feel great right now. I'm healthy. I get to work out every day. The pandemic, I used it for one thing. I bought a Peloton and I started riding my damn thing. I'm addicted to it. But I think that when I'm not, I know this for sure. I've seen people hang on too long. The day that I'm not enjoying it, I mean, I'm always going to bitch about something because that's kind of the nature of what we do. But the day I'm really not having fun, what I'm doing, like I said, I'm just waving to the media. And by the way, I'm skipping that press conference doing that last day.
I think you can do that. Well, Coach,
don't do that to us.
I hope that day is years and years away because
thanks,
the state of Michigan is a better place with you in it,
Yeah.
and Michigan State's better with it, and college basketball is better with Tom Izzo on a sideline, on the
Amen.
Michigan State
Agreed.
Spartan sideline. We cannot
Hey, guys.
thank you enough for doing this, sir.
Well, I appreciate you guys, and seriously, it's great to be part of a rival. Instead of complaining about it and fighting about it, how many people would die to have a rivalries like Duke, Carolina, or Michigan State? Those things. It's not always you can do that. I mean, you got a big one with Ohio State, but they're not even in the same state, so that's kind of not legal. When you're 60 miles apart and you're the Hatfields and the McCoys, but I think,
I think
So don't think I don't, but I do respect, and respect is the key. And the people I've gone against, like Carr's been a good friend. I love Bo, John Beeline, and Juwan. I recruited Juwan, so I mean, I told John Beeline, hey, I can't like my rival, but I sure as hell can respect them, and that's what I did.
Amen to that. Well, Coach, hopefully you got a table at St. Elmo's tonight. Get you a shrimp cocktail and a big steak,
Yeah.
That's the spot.
and enjoy it.
When you're from the UP, guys, when you're from the UP, the St. Elmo's is a Burger King, so I might go to Burger King.
Fair enough. Best of luck this weekend, Coach. We'll be rooting for
Definitely.
you, and hopefully
Thanks,
we'll see you
guys.
on Sunday.
See you,
You got
Coach.
it. Coach Izzo,
right.
Tom Izzo, the great Tom
Take care,
Izzo, the
guys.
all-time
Bye-bye.
winningest coach in Big Ten basketball history. Was that awesome or what?
I forgot I went to Michigan for 2 seconds.
I
I had to pull it in. I had to reel it together. But he's amazing. He's amazing. He's done everything you can do at his position, and he's just a great guy. Like when I hear him talk, and when I talk to him, it's just that's the coach I grew up on. That's the coach I grew up watching on TV, like in terms of the type of coach. That's the coach I ended up playing for. And Lloyd Carr, when I hear that, the hoarse, old school, raspy voice, I think college football and business. You've reached the end of the video. You know what you should do? Press like. You know you like the content that we have here at Woodward Sports Network. I'm Braylon Edwards from the bottom line. Subscribe to us right now.